It is June 14th at about 6:30 a.m. and this is another session of Daily Spiritual Medicine. This is volume 30, and I am doing it early because I will be out on the lake doing some things. Um, Came to Indian Lake on Tecumseh Island for just a little visit, and I hope that this will do well for you. And I will post it as soon as I am finished. So I was thinking just the other day, after we talked on the four kingdoms that came about through Daniel and the stone that was cut out of the mountain. And if you remember, those four kingdoms were Babylon, and then Medes and Persians, and then Greece, the Greeks, and then Rome. And as I was thinking about those, um, it was a movement through the earth as a collective body of humanity that the four kingdoms came about, and the earth itself produced these things. And I was thinking about how the earth is actually made up of four major um, mixes or elements, and that is water, and then fire, and air, and earth. And so I went back and I took a look, and I just studied just a little bit on the four kingdoms. And those are really four kingdoms that we are living in today. We are in the fullness of those four kingdoms, so all of those are moving within us. But Babylon was the first kingdom, which was King Nebuchadnezzar in the days of Daniel. And that kingdom produced itself on the water. It built itself on on a river, and I can't remember the name of the river. I think it was Tigris or Euphrates. But anyway, Babylon built itself, and the way that it protected itself was with water. It set up water that ran through it, and they barricaded and they built walls around it. And it was one of the greatest kingdoms and the greatest cities that was ever on the face of the earth. And the way that it fell was that the Medes and Persians, they knew that if they took away their water, then they were a very vulnerable kingdom and a vulnerable people. So the Medes and Persians went up the river from them and barricaded the river and changed the course of the river, dried the water up, and then they could enter Babylon beneath all the walls and things. So that was the way Babylon fell, but it started out as water. And the Medes and Persians were fire. And it was a kingdom that was what they had. They had gods that were of fire, and sun was their main god, and then they had Mercury, and they had several different gods that were the kingdoms within the earth that when you took a look at it, it was a fire kingdom, so to speak. And then, of course, it began to burn itself out, and it began to the things that it was doing were old, they were outdated, they were inundated, they were pretty much finished, and it died out. And the Medes and Persians, and then the next thing that came in, if you remember, there was Babylon, the water, Medes and Persians, the fire, and then came the air, the Greeks. What were the Greeks? They were the great philosophers, the air, the mind. Um, and so Aquarius, so to speak, and Gemini and Libra, and this kingdom of the Greeks were a great, and they produced some of the greatest philosophers. They produced some of the greatest men, some of the greatest leaders, some of the greatest concepts and philosophies and quotes, and you had Aristotle and Socrates and just on and on and on, all the different ones, and ended up in Alexander the Great, who had conquered the whole known world at 33 years old. And then the Greeks began to die out, and their kingdom began to slow down because when Alexander the Great died, it broke up into four leaderships or four kingdoms, and and it lost its power and it went into weakness. And the next thing that came was Rome, and Rome is earth. And so we see that um, when Rome came and they began to do what? They built a transportation system across the world, and they began to conquer all the known lands, and they began to set up the Roman Empire, and they began to do all of these different things. And Rome set up a kingdom on earth that lasted longer than any of the kingdoms. So you had water, fire, air, and earth. Babylon, Medes, Persians, the Greeks, and Rome. These four are now living in you: water, fire, air, and earth. Water brings forth and produces, and fire explodes it and turns it from water into steam and raises it into the air. And in the air, we have our thought, our mind, all of those things, and we come to what we want to come to in life, and we turn back to the earth, and we set up the kingdom that we come to understanding on through water, fire, and air, and into earth. And the kingdom, Rome being that natural earthly kingdom that lasted so long and was so great, is just a representative or a type and a shadow of the kingdom of Christ in earth. When all four of these elemental mixes are put together, it brings forth a great kingdom. And that's what we are right now. We've come through the four. We are living in the four. We are producing a great understanding, moving it into the earth. The kingdom of Christ is here and is happening all around us. Love bless you, and I hope this has been a blessing to you. And I am going to go. It's a beautiful day outside. You can see all around me. You can see the lake. You can see the sun is just coming up. And I will be putting out some beautiful pictures about that. But you can see that it's, um, it's a beautiful day. And love bless you. And I'm going to go and enjoy it.